Hey, so Susan Ragsdale here with Right Creations Group, and I am with my friend and colleague Melia Arnold, who has years of experience with service learning and reflection across the state, working with groups in school, out of school, teaching, training, preparing adults to do it well. So, of course, in our examining perspectives on the ground of why reflection is important, I had to ask her. Melia, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
It's fun. So let's just start with reflection. Why is it important? What does it mean to you?
Reflection, reflection is so beautiful, and it's such a powerful tool that we often forget or don't spend enough time on. So first of all, thank you for taking the time to do this and talk about it, because it is really important. Because reflection really provides that space and time to let everything marinate in terms of what either students have been doing, the service they've been providing, and really considering and thinking about the impact that that has had on them as individuals, as well as on the community that they're serving or serving in. And so it's really important to take that time to do that.
So we didn't, talk about this question in particular for today, but what drew you to reflection? Like, how did that become important to you as a tool? Was it an experience you had as a young person, or did you discover it when you were working with young people that it was the activity that helped everything?
I really learned about it through, I think we all reflect at different times in our life. It's just part of our human experience. We don't necessarily name it and claim it as reflection. So as I was learning a lot more about service and service learning and civic engagement and doing different facilitations and trainings and being trained as a trainer, I was taught about reflection and the meaning that it has, and the meaning and the depth that it can create for an experience, whether it's a group that's learning something new, or a group that's providing a service for someone or their community. And so it was something that was taught to me, and I realized that we all do it. And then I realized more about the benefit of it, that it's important to do. And then I saw it in my own practice with groups of service providers.
So what were some of the things that you saw? What were some of the benefits that you could visually see,
The easiest one to describe is that aha moment where that light bulb goes on and something clicks for someone, and where they say, "Oh, you know what? I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it." But seeing that face light up, or the experience of my own face lighting up and saying, "Oh, right, this is where the impact was," or "This is something that I learned that's super beneficial, that's going to help in the future." It really solidifies that meaning for the experience.
And you're right. It's that aha moment. That's what keeps us going as trainers and leaders, to create that space where they tap their inner wisdom and their inner knowing, and they realize something, or they've accomplished a skill, or they see how they're bigger than themselves. It's huge.
Right. And it's all of that. And it's knowing that, I like what you just said too about something bigger than themselves, and that they're I think it's so vitally important, especially right now, as many people feel a little more splintered than usual in our society, and feeling like we are meaningful, and that we are part of a greater collective, of a community, whether that's our neighborhood, whether that's our school, whether that's our state or our country. And that's something that's really, really vital.
Yeah. So out of all the years of doing this, I bet you've got some tools up your sleeve and a favorite. So what's your go-to reflection activity, or favorite one that you like to use?
I mean, it is so basic, and it's the basic reflection, the 3 questions that we ask all the time, but it's what I go back to every time, because it's so easy for any group, regardless of age, to really think about it and chew on, and again, have that deeper meaning. So it really is the what, so what, now what. So what did we do? What did we experience? What did we learn? So what, which is well, why does that matter? Why is there meaning in, is there meaning in it? Did we do anything? Did we learn anything? Why does that matter? And then now what is okay? Well, what do we do with this at this point?
Mm-hmm.
What is the next step? How can we use this to further our service or our own development, our own leadership, our own learning? And that one I always come back to because it's such an easy tool to use, like I said, use with any group. And to talk through with them and really have more of a conversation about it. It's a really good one to use with, again, with a group, which is typically what we're working with, but because they're all sharing that with each other. And then there are those other ahas for individuals as they hear other people talk about what their experience was and what they think they can do with it.
And yeah, I love the what, so what, now what, and we talk about that in our book, because it moves from here's the experience to feelings to deeper thinking. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that we've been using it lately in some of our trainings is we have, a tossable stuffed animal or whatever in the circle. And so when somebody wants to answer, they raise their hand and you toss the item to them, because then that gives you a third thing, which is something we talk about in the book as well. So instead of that staring at each other and, share now and feeling that pressure, then just tossing and having that item to focus on helps them relax and feel safe and open up even more. So what about tips? Because sometimes you have groups that are all introverts, or maybe they're not even connected as a group, or they don't know you and you haven't had time to establish that relationship. So what are some of your tips you've learned to really pull out and create that space for reflection?
There are a few things, and you just touched on one so I'll mention that first, is reflection. You can have pre-reflection, which is great too. Post-reflection, you've had a chance to interact with the group and kind of read the group. So if you know that they are more introverted, or they have, it's not as comfortable for them speaking in front of the group, you can always do a written reflection. And that can be, I'm just picturing, let's say everybody's in a room together, a group together at their table. They can, you can have prompts with reflection questions, and then then you just let them know we're going to have X amount of time, so they don't feel rushed. Mm-hmm. Look at these, look at the first reflection question, write down your answer, your response to this. You won't let them know, prompt them with, you won't have to read it out loud, but we'll ask someone else to read it out loud. So you can have everyone respond and then switch papers around, and then other people can verbally share the reflection of someone else without necessarily knowing who that is. So that's a good one if you have a group that needs a little bit more prompting or a little bit more care around that. Mm-hmm. And then one piece that I just always have to remember is, after a prompt, a question, wait.
Yes.
Because people will eventually answer, and they will there's that uncomfortable silence, but then you just wait, 3 more seconds, and someone is more willing to share. Okay. All right. I'm going to share what, and so that's always just waiting for, a few seconds. And again, then if there's something that, okay, then it gets really uncomfortable and nobody wants to talk, then you can go back to something where it's the written reflection, or you just ask another prompt.
Yeah.
The other one with youth, especially, is if youth are asking those reflection questions to each other, because that has a sense of more of autonomy with it. They can have a series of questions that they can choose from to ask each other in a smaller group or the larger group. And so that's more helpful too with peer on peer, where a peer will feel more comfortable answering a question to a fellow peer, as long as that group is one that you've read to be cohesive and supportive of each other.
Nice.
Yeah, those are my tips at the moment.
So we're just doing quick interviews. Melia took time. I'm really glad to have this chance for us to connect again. And that's our on-the-ground perspective from Melia Arnold and what she's learned from her years of experience. So we would ask you guys, what do you think? What's a tip that works for you? What have you found that's worked? So just comment and let us know. Thanks, Melia.
Thank you.